news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe. This is the Kyssfm SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Today is Tuesday, the 9th of January 2018. I'm Ebony Brandon. These are today's top stories nationally. The slave register exhibit at the National Museum has been extended until January 19th. Internationally, the world is paying keen attention to the first inter-Korean talks in 2 years. And in sport, Trevor Bayliss will step down as England's coach in 2019. We also have a look at the weather forecast and Carib update. We now take a look at the news developments in detail. The National Trust has extended its slave register exhibit to Friday, 19th January. The exhibit was originally to have concluded on 7th January. In a statement, Director of Visitor Experience, Tony Frederick Armstrong, said schools in particular are being encouraged to use the opportunity to arrange visits for their students. The St. Christopher Original Register of Slaves is the country's most important surviving documents from the 19th century. The register was compiled in 1817 to ensure that enslaved persons were not smuggled onto the island. The listing represents the first time that the entire enslaved population of St. Kitts was enumerated by name, gender, age, color, place of birth, and employment. In effect, it gave the enslaved persons individual identities. It's now been named part of UNESCO's Memory of the World project. In addition to the Register of Slaves, the 3 original prints by 18th century artist Agostino Brunias have been loaned to the National Museum by Gregory Pereira. Added to the special exhibit as part of the Pereira collection are Brunias' A West Indian Flower Girl, the other 2 free women of color, and Stick Licking, the latter print depicting 2 African men, likely enslaved, participating in a stick fight. Mr. Pereira has also loaned the museum a series of colored lithographs illustrating various aspects of sugar cultivation in the West Indies, which appeared in the London Evening Standard and Illustrated London Evening News in 1849. In addition to the prints, he has also loaned the exhibit a coin struck in 1814 to commemorate the abolition of the slave trade in the British Empire in 1807. The coin was a penny trade token issued for use in Sierra Leone. The exhibit also includes a pictorial account of the capture of Africans, their journey to the Caribbean, and their life on the plantations as enslaved people. The museum is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. While admission to the museum and the special exhibit are free for students and their chaperones, the museum is asking that persons book their visits in advance. In other news, the potential of the Kyssfm farm as a model for greater plans for the development of agriculture in the Federation has been highlighted by Al Edwards, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture. According to Mr. Edwards, there are a great many plans in place for the year ahead, all of which are aimed at ensuring the growth of the sector and safeguarding the Federation's food security. With this in mind, Mr. Edwards says Kyssfm has been able to aid in the development of strategies which can be employed on a larger scale to address a variety of matters, including the business operations related to agriculture, public-private partnerships, water management, and the ongoing issue of the impact of the Federation's massive monkey population on the farming of crops. The Kyssfm farm, with its 100 acres, has also been uniquely useful to agricultural technicians in plotting out the business of agriculture, specifically in determining the viability of crops and identifying which items of produce are in high demand. This allows them to provide private farm operations with better advice as to how to plan their planting schedules, which in turn leads to increased profit for these farmers and a satisfied public. This, continued Edwards, will ensure greater food security. One of the harsh realities regarding the fragility of the Federation's food security and the impact of climate change on agriculture arose after Dominica was devastated last year by Hurricane Maria. For weeks after the storm, fresh produce in supermarkets was noticeably low, as sea transportation between Dominica and many of its northern neighbors was halted due to the devastation there. Dominica is one of the leading exporters of produce to many Caribbean Caribbean islands. P.S. Edwards said for this never to occur again, local private entities are being encouraged to farm high-demand crops, including bananas, pineapples and plantains, to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis can meet its local demand. He also spoke seriously of the dangers of the uncontrolled local monkey population, estimated to be well over 1 million, has on the agricultural sector. According to Edwards, either directly or indirectly, the massive monkey population accounts for a significant decrease in the output of local farmers, many of whom live in fear of the unsalvageable damage troops of monkeys can cause to crops. He added, too, that the fear of the damage monkeys cause has also deterred persons from entering agriculture at all. If the monkey population is either reduced or a way found to control them, Mr. Edwards estimates that the local production of specific crops can increase by as much as 50 to 60%. Moving on to international developments this morning, the world's eyes are on the two Koreas and their high-level meeting today, the first in 2 years. The talks were set to focus on North Korea's participation in the Winter Olympics that will take place next month in South Korea. But there are hopes that the rare encounter at the border village of Pyeongchang could mark a breakthrough in inter-Korean relations. Zlatica Hoke reports.
Citizens of South Korea hailed the talks with North Korean officials mainly as a sign that the Olympic Games next month won't be marred by North Korean missiles flying over the peninsula.
Through sports diplomacy and the South encountering the North in Pyeongchang Olympics, we can move one step away from the war threats.
But tired of tensions over North Korea's frequent missile tests, many in the South hope that the talks may move from sports to North Korea's nuclear program.
First of all, it is important to safely hold the Pyeongchang Olympics. But I think that despite it being a tough international situation, the talks will be the trigger to start the conversation about the nuclear issues.
North Korea is expected to permit a pair of its skaters to compete in the Olympics. A South Korean official said its country would also seek discussions on resuming reunions of families separated since the Korean War. About 60,000 elderly South Koreans still hope to meet their relatives again.
Most of the talk will be about the Pyeongchang Olympics, and the rest could be about humanitarian aspects, including the issues of separated families and aiding children and pregnant women in North Korea.
Speaking ahead of the talks, a South Korean analyst said North Korea wants to show the international community that it is not a troublemaker.
By participating in the Olympics, North Korea wants to show the world that it is a normal country and that Kim Jong-un is a normal leader.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has exchanged bellicose rhetoric with the U.S. President Donald Trump, sparking fear of a possible nuclear confrontation. China has repeatedly urged a return to dialogue. Pope Francis on Monday called for a legally binding international ban on nuclear weapons and urged foreign diplomats to support every effort at dialogue on the peninsula. Analysts say North Korea is not likely to halt its nuclear development in the near future. Trump has welcomed the inter-Korean meeting, but has said he would not tolerate a nuclear North Korea.
And in sport this morning, Trevor Bayliss will step down as England coach when his contract expires at the end of the 2019 Ashes. The 55-year-old, who was appointed in 2015, has just seen his side beaten 4-0 in Australia, but told England Director of Cricket Andrew Strauss of his plans a year ago. Commenting on his looming departure, Bayliss said he was contracted through September 2019 and will see it to the end. He continued that he thought it was time for a change and believed that a new voice and different approach reinvigorates things. Bayliss led England to a home Ashes triumph in his first summer in charge and later presided over a test series in South Africa and a run to the final of the 2016 World 2020. With the World Cup on home soil in 2019, England's steady progress in the 50-over game has been such that a semi-final defeat in the 2017 Champions Trophy was seen as a disappointment. However, the team's recent test results have been mixed. In 38 matches under Bayliss, they have lost 18 and won 15. The tour of Australia extended their winless run in away tests to 11 matches. England's next assignment in Test cricket is 2 matches in New Zealand in March. The squad for that trip will be announced on Wednesday. Australia coach Darren Lehmann will also leave his post after the 2019 Ashes in the United Kingdom. And now we take a look at this morning's weather forecast. Over St. Kitts and Nevis, we can expect partly cloudy skies today and tonight, with periods of increased cloudiness accompanied by some brief passing showers. Some showers could be locally heavy at times. Seas are rough with swells of 1.8 to 2.8 meters or 6 to 9 feet. Warnings remain in place for small craft operators and sea bathers against hazardous sea conditions. Winds are easterly at 16 to 23 miles per hour with higher gusts during showers as well as over open waters. The sea level pressure is 1,016.9 millibars or 30.03 inches. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:39 a.m. and set today at 5:53 p.m. Across the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, a brisk trade wind flow will continue to transport low-level patches over and around the islands over the next 24 hours. Therefore, we can expect partly cloudy skies with periods of increased cloudiness, along with some widely scattered showers from Hispaniola southward to Trinidad and Tobago. Some showers could be locally heavy at times. And that look at the weather wraps things up for us here at SKN News Now. We leave you with a look once again at this morning's top stories. Nationally, the slave register exhibit at the National Museum has been extended until January 19th. Internationally, the world is paying keen attention to the first inter-Korean talks in 2 years. And in sport, Trevor Bayliss will step down as England's coach in 2019. I've been your presenter, Ebony Brandon. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Stay with us. Still to come in just a moment from now, Carib Update.